Hello, I'm Lost Generation. This is MediEvil. Let's play. Today I'm playing Pumpkin Gorge. A pumpkin is a gourd-like squash of the genus Cucurbita and the family Cucurbitaceae, and is native to North America. They typically have a thick orange or yellow shell creased from the stem to the bottom, containing the seeds and pulp. Pumpkins are widely grown for commercial use, and are used both in food and recreation. They also walk on and attack with their roots, spit deadly orange goop, and bull rush you. For some reason, Wikipedia neglects to mention any of these things. Getting on to the actual game now. I enchant the sword to start with, because it makes things easier. Well, I'll go back to talking about those pumpkins there. Those roots they don't do that much damage, but you can slash them to get them out of your way. They can add up if you ignore them, and they stay gone once you slash them. The bouncing pumpkins don't, and the exploding pumpkins around these corners do. So if you slash an exploding pumpkin, it won't explode. If you let it blow up, it works either way. They don't come back. The roots don't come back. The bouncing pumpkins do. And since none of these things count towards the chalice, it's really up to you whether you want to ignore them or not. The real enemies, the walking pumpkins, they're probably, other than the scarecrows, one of the most dangerous enemies yet. Just touching them hurts you. They don't have to be in the middle of an attack. Their tongue attack has quite a long range, and they're invincible while they're doing it. The orange stuff they spit, I haven't seen them use it that often. It's only if you're very far away, and I've never been hit by it. Because the other annoying thing is they pop out of the ground. And the bull rushing, they haven't shown it yet, but sometimes if they start flashing white, not from an attack, but just on their own, once they start doing that, they won't stop. They just charge towards you non-stop, and because they damage you and they hit you, that's quite annoying. The other irritating thing is, well, maybe not irritating, but because they just spawn on the ground, you do have to run around the entire level, making sure you don't miss any, otherwise you won't get the chalice. And something happened there that I kind of missed the opportunity to mention. While you're not I've said before, you're not invincible when you're taking damage, but if you have to use a life bottle, you are invincible for the duration of the animation, where the life bottle is spinning on the screen. You won't take any more damage during that. Which you can abuse slightly, but you'd have to be really planning ahead. This is a semi-puzzle. It's not really a puzzle, you'd figure it out fairly quickly, but just because you can't jump to that ledge immediately, you spin on this platform clockwise, and you can raise the platform. Though, I would point out, if you know what's coming ahead of time and you just do a dash from the door, you can actually get across that without it. But generally you won't know that ahead of time. The other reason I enchanted my sword is not only are these enemies quite dangerous, but there's a lot of them. I fought maybe 5 scarecrows in the last level. I'd say these guys are as dangerous, and they're everywhere. On the other hand, it's balanced by the fact that the other pumpkins are fairly harmless and easy to kill. Even the normal small sword does it. Something happened there. The weapon went through the wall, but it didn't hit the enemy. It's fairly good coding for the time. The animation does go through the wall, but the game is smart enough to know that I couldn't hit that guy, so it didn't let me. Also, if you read that book, then you're smarter than me, because I wish I had. I guess this is supposed to be a gauntlet, but you can just grab it and run away. The most dangerous thing is the roots. And them. They are really everywhere. And as far as I know, you have to kill all but one to get the chalice. Check behind every corner in case you miss one. And for the first embarrassment, I do fall into stuff. And actually, to add insult to injury, I am going the wrong way at the moment. So, let's get up here. Past me discovers he was going the wrong way. And back to the hill, back in the center. There's a path up there. That's what you use the green rune on. If I didn't have an enchantment on it, I prefer the broadsword for this. But as I'm saving the enchantment, the hammer's the next best thing. Well, I said they died in one hit to the hammer shockwave is the only thing that doesn't instantly kill them. One other thing about the pumpkin guys, though I don't show it because I want to save the chicken drumsticks for really dangerous enemies, they are vulnerable to it. You can use it on them. However, while I won't be showing it until much later, there is a much better place to use the chicken drumsticks. I don't want to waste them. Again, I know what's happening ahead of time. That springs up, and to lower the platform you have to slash the roots coming up around it. You can't slash the platform directly. Well, first of all, I want to kill the pumpkins. At the moment that's fine, but when it comes to killing the plant, the camera doesn't want to look at it. Maybe it's his immaculate planks, maybe it's the expensive polish he's wearing, but for whatever reason the camera is love-struck by the gate. So just slash like mad and constantly run into things that aren't even moving. There's a lot of backtracking in this level that I'm going to speed up. To kind of... As I think Pumpkin Gorge on its own wouldn't be too interesting, I'm going to include the next level as well, because it's a fairly short one. So this video will be a bit longer, but that's because it contains 2 short levels. And those tentacles I don't think you can slash, you just have to run around them. And I finally hit on my favourite strategy for avoiding these walking pumpkins. I just run around in circles and hope. Yeah, that is the last 3 pumpkins. I kill 2 of them. So, all but 1 of the walking pumpkins to get the chalice. And as you saw, some of them are behind buildings or in a corner somewhere, so you do have to explore to get the chalice on this level. Which I haven't shown where it is yet, have I? Well, right after one last embarrassment. The worst part is I did that in every single practice run, and I still do it again. Just keep forgetting there's a pit there. So, because it's quite a long way back, I have to go all the way back to the Merchant Gargoyle, and there are no enemies left, so I'm just going to speed up the whole thing. Get back to him, and the club there was to tell you that there was a wall that you could smash. Because there are more of the pumpkin guys in the next level, I'm enchanting the sword again. It's sort of expensive, but I feel it's worth it at the moment. And once you get the chalice, you can't go back the way you came. It's just I'd say it's a gauntlet. It's a tunnel full of roots and bouncing pumpkins, but none of them hit very hard, so it's more of an annoyance. On top of that, there's an energy vial at the end. And yet again, same route, still no enemies, speeding up again. And I didn't fall in the pit this time.
All bow down before the master of the vegetable patch, the prize-winning plant who can summon an army of cabbage with a wave of his noble tendril. He's delicious, he's nutritious, he's Zarok's secret recipe. He's the Pumpkin King.
I don't think delicious and nutritious are the most awe-inspiring ways to describe an enemy. I did ask the thread, you get a choice of weapons here, which I'd forgotten at first. They're both ranged weapons, the longbow and the spear. People voted for the longbow, so I'm getting that for now. I'll go into a bit more detail about the spear in the next video. I unlock it in this one, but I don't get to show it off. Actually, unfortunately, I don't get to show much of the longbow either. I'll explain more in a bit, but... That is the Amazon woman, Amanzi Shongoma. She gives you the spear, but I'm not getting that just yet.
Look at you running around in your bones, Fortescue. You're so nouveau dead. I, Ravenhooves, last prince of the centaurs, have not galloped the earth in over 10,000 years. Do yourself a favor, Fortescue. Take my longbow. More powerful than a crossbow. The option of flaming arrows? It is truly the weapon of noblemen. Congratulations! You don't quite have my breeding, Mr. Johnny-come-lately, but there's hope for you yet.
Yeah, I'd like you to remember that he mentioned flaming arrows. There's gonna be something a bit weird about that later. The longbow is a bit... I guess it's sort of a cross between the throwing knives and the crossbow. It fires in an arc, it fires much further than the throwing knives. It does not fire as fast as the crossbow, but the arrows do so much more damage that it's both more damage per hit and more damage per second. You can hold 200 normal arrows, and for some reason I don't understand, the arrows are actually cheaper than crossbow bolts. As I said, that was quite a short level, especially with me fast-forwarding half of it. So, I'm just going to go ahead and include the Pumpkin King in this as well. The level is called the Pumpkin Serpent. I don't know why. In-game, he's never... well, in levels, he is never called anything other than the Pumpkin King. And the targeting reticle hopefully tells me that's a pod plant. Actually, I don't think I've mentioned that. The targeting thing is, according to concept art and an FMV I won't see till much later, it's a glowworm living in Dan's eye socket. It can somehow fly. And now for the reason I can't show off the longbow. These guys can block attacks. They can do it with melee attacks, though I never see them do it in this video. But it seems that if they're facing you, they always block ranged attacks. So, longbow, unfortunately, I don't get to use it much here. And it's kind of annoying, because both of the choices in there were ranged weapons. No matter what you picked, you wouldn't get to use it here. So, more broadsword. And again, I know I keep saying how dangerous these enemies are, but these levels are unusually generous with health. I'm actually doing better than normal. While the last witch was optional, the actual witch talisman isn't optional. You need it to speak to this woman, and you have to speak to her to finish the game.
Greetings, kind sir. I am the Pumpkin Witch. I'm like a mother to those pumpkins. I give them all the love and care a young fruit could ever ask for. From the moment they first push a shoot above the soil, right up until their heads are cut off and eaten. And look, see how they repay me, running around and causing mischief. That nasty old big pumpkin has a bad influence on the young seedlings. If you teach him a lesson in manners, I might give you a nice present.
I hope it's gravy. Eating all these roast chickens dry just seems wrong. So yeah, that witch isn't optional. If you miss the witch talisman, then you kind of have to backtrack for it. If you're anything like I was when I was younger, you won't know where it is, and you might not have the internet yet, or a good internet connection, so you're going to replay every level before this looking for the thing. If you're more experienced with games, which sounds kind of stupid now I say it, but you generally learn, especially in MediEvil or other platformers, you want to explore the entire level before you leave it. It can be quite annoying to backtrack for anything. While the Pumpkin King is asleep, those roots of his can damage you if you get too close. I don't know why you would get that... well, I suppose you get that close to hit the pod sacks, but if you get really... well, I just did it off camera. He can hit you. But you can't hit him yet. It kind of seems odd to me in hindsight. Why can't I just kill the thing in its sleep? That seems easier. Oh, also, don't smash those skull and crossbone chests. You'll want to save those. This is a pond that has been dried out from the pumpkins sucking it dry, which I find a nice touch. Now, with all the build-up to this boss fight, you might be expecting something impressive, but I'm afraid not. Pumpkin King's only ranged attack is throwing those slow, bouncing pumpkins at you. If you keep your distance, you could safely shoot him to death. with the spear, I've killed this guy before he even fired a single pumpkin. With the longbow, it's not quite as cost efficient. The other odd thing, though, is that he's one of the few bosses you can melee attack. His roots don't hit that hard, just walk in and kill him really quickly. And now to get the chalice. Actually, I didn't have to kill the walking pumpkins before this. These guys, as far as I can tell, never stop spawning once you've killed the Pumpkin King. You run around in a circle, killing things, fill out the chalice. The real trick is finding it. You might have noticed a sort of giant pot with roots sticking out of it. That was actually a well. And now the Pumpkin King is dead. You couldn't cut those roots back, by the way, so now the Pumpkin King is dead, I can go back and jump down. But before I do that, I want to talk to the witch. You really don't want to leave here without your present.
A most edifying spectacle, sir. Man and vegetable in a magnificent duel to the death. Oh, I've come over all of a doodah. Here, have this lovely dragon gem as your reward. Oh, lovely majestic creatures dragons are.
It's not gravy, but it'll do. Jump down the well? I seem to have been mistaken. I've never seen Dan take full damage in this one. I'm sorry to say, I do seem to have got my memories of MediEvil 1 and 2 slightly mixed up. Yeah, standard arrows are cheaper than crossbow bolts. I don't know why. They are better, I'm quite sure of that. Those rats, they're the same as the walking hands. You can squash them to get a single gold piece. It is not worth doing at all. I suppose you can squash them if you're walking past them, but don't go out of your way to do it. And that is it for both Pumpkin Gorge and the Pumpkin King. And now to get your other prize. This is something that bugs me a little. You go for most of the game with the crossbow as your only good ranged weapon, while getting money from... I think you get 2 or 3 sets of money, but then you get 2 ranged weapons in a row, which kind of defeats the point of giving you a choice between them. I prefer if they'd spread out the choices a bit.
Dan, tell me, what's a warrior queen gotta do to meet someone like you? Don't be shy, baby. I've seen you giving me the eye. You may be weak and feeble like old men, but I like you, Daniel. Oh, I love a man who doesn't talk back. I think if you return, I may take you for my husband. Now listen up, sugar. Your bow and arrows are fine for itty-bitty jobs, but if you want to pack some serious heat, you should take this spear. Think of me when you throw it.
Unlike the longbow, I'm not going to waste any spears demonstrating its arc or whatever, or firing rate. They're powerful, but you only get 30 of them, and replacements are expensive. The next level is the Sleeping Village. You may remember that being the one on a diagonal that I kept having trouble selecting, and I apparently haven't learned my lesson. I have the bright idea to use the directional pad, but somehow press left. I really have no excuse for that. So, I will see you next time in the Sleeping Village.